Britain's nuclear-powered hunter-killer submarine
reach our shores.
Harbour to deliver violence to the enemy. Fire! One.
But for the first time ever, this series has full access to her befuddled HMS Turbulent on her final deployment. It's the story of 130 men in an isolated, cramped and close-knit world, thousands of miles from home and family.
So I just thought I'd phone you up to tell you how much I love you.
On a mission...
Amazing, isn't it? Middle of the ocean, British submarine, British helicopter, doing their jobs.
You've seen the news with regard to threatening manner.
As they sail through the Mediterranean... In this episode, Turbulent enters the danger zone. The next generation start training.
Don't look so nervous, alright?
And there's food for thought in the galley. HMS Turbulent is in the Mediterranean, preparing to dock at the NATO naval base at Suda Bay in Crete. Pilot coming aboard to... Turb's goal is to patrol the waters of the Middle East, the only British submarine in the region capable of firing Tomahawk missiles. But over the past few weeks, he's been frustrated by McCall's operation against the Libyan regime in the central Mediterranean. A brief stay in Crete will enable her to fix her defects. Ultimately, the huge responsibility of getting Turb safely to her destination rests with her captain, Commander Ryan Ramsey, who has led her crew for 2.5 years.
Once we've gone alongside in decent material state to repair some of the defects that we've encountered during the last 3 weeks, we need to stall ship back up to 90 days and then we should be ready to go.
From Suda Bay, the most dangerous part of their mission will take them into 2 choke points, the Suez Canal and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. They will then enter the troubled waters of the Indian Ocean en route to Fujairah.
The next, which is no mean feat with a nuclear submarine, lots of merchant vessel traffic, the restrictions that the canal has on it itself, and then the next challenges after that, the Red Sea, which is a bizarre place to operate dived, the Bab el-Mandeb, where there's a potential for action against us if Somali pirates or other pirates operating in that area deem that they want to give it a go, and then also proceeding through an area that it's got a lot of warships conducting counter-piracy to contribute to that counter-piracy effort.
He's already been disciplined twice for lateness in his 3 months on board. But today is a good day as he prepares to receive his dolphins, the badge that signals entry into the fraternity of submariners. Dolphins are customarily presented in a glass of Navy rum.
Okay, health and safety. 1, you don't have to take this out of alcohol unless you don't want to. Anybody not want to? 2, do not swallow the dolphins, catch them in your teeth. And 3, if you're going to hurl, make sure you do it. That was like water.
On receiving his dolphins, Buster joins the procession of officers and enlisted men heading off for 2 days shore leave.
Loving it.
Sleeping quarters on board are so cramped that the men are allowed to stay in hotels when they're in port. As they head for their accommodation, of the camaraderie on board HMS Turbulent that the officers and enlisted men
See you around, sir. Got your number. Future number of yeah. Cheers, nice one.
Cheers, man.
Got your number for the special forces. Come on, it's all fun, it's all fun.
It'll be a long time before they get another chance to let their hair down. But not everyone gets 2 days off. Back in the boat, Richard Farrow is still at work. It may seem like a punishment, but it's actually a reward. Richard's just passed his basic stuff to the boat in port. His duties include overseeing the storage of fresh provisions.
All the food arrived about 2.5 hours late, and because of that the whole ship's company were in to help with the store ship. They were hanging around, and it's meant that everyone got away really late.
Even with the boat nearly deserted, Richard's watch is proving troublesome. He's clearly unsure about the procedure that ensures that
For the XO, getting a decent set of tank lifts done overnight, so they're ready to go.
vents and blows, as they're called, ought to be a relatively simple procedure.
Just brief me on the Chief. Just brief me on the stages as we go through.
Richard is supposed to be ensuring that everyone's following the proper safety measures, but it's not going to plan.
So, ship control. We didn't do the warning pipe, and it was just comms breakdown between me and the Chief Stoker. We didn't do the warning pipe. We're then going to do the 2-second blow.
Protocol at stake here. Richard's career prospects may depend on getting this right.
It's fair to say you struggle to make the clears in terms of the logistics also what we're expecting from him. It's either pick up the bat and run, in which case we'll start to limit to the standards we expect of him, or we'll continue our down spot, in which case then we may pursue an administrative process to remove him from the stream.
I've done lots of survey duties before on Vanguard class submarines, and this is way up there with as challenging as they've been. It's not necessarily that that there's been that many for the day problems, but there have been logistics problems as well. So that made it a very challenging day while all that was happening. So after we've done the
Richard needs to master his various roles, and quickly, and resumes. After reparative capabilities, the Suez Canal. While taking on stores in Suda Bay, Tubbs picked up 4 young trainee submariners. The man in charge of settling them in is Chief Petty Officer Matt Ling. He joined the Navy as a 16-year-old, so he knows just how they feel.
Alright, don't look so nervous, alright? How's your first 12 hours on the submarine been like?
Surprising.
Yeah. Surprising? Yeah. I'm in the process of lining you up with some sea daddies, okay, and what they're going to do is they're going to look. It is their first time at sea. Do we eat? What time do we go to bed? Everything. We have to spoon feed them information. And they've done specific submarine training. That's classroom based. Now they join us to consolidate that training in a wet phase. They've got a target date, which I think is around about the middle of May, to get their dolphins on their chest and become qualified submariners. And the only way they can do that is by spending time on the submarine, learning the systems, knowing how a submarine works.
Tubbs has made it safely through the Mediterranean, but now she must transit the 100-mile-long Suez Canal. It'll save them sailing round the whole of Africa, but it's no simple task. The canal is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Worse, Tubbs has to navigate it while surfaced, which makes the transit even more dangerous. MC and his crew. He will be the first captain to sail a British submarine through the canal since Egypt was rocked by revolution, and the country remains unstable. Also under immense pressure is the navigator, Gareth Griffiths. Born at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, he must chart the course that guides the submarine and her payload safely through the narrow channel. But he will need help.
Egyptian Army escort the entire transit, 1,600 troops, and £500,000. So it's a lot of money to get through. the consequences of having any UK warship attacked on the way through the Suez would be quite disastrous.
As someday to command his own submarine. For now, he's leading the watch on this phase of the transit.
A submarine, by its very nature, isn't at home on the surface. She's not manoeuvrable, she's slow to respond. You've got a lot of merchant vessels anchoring in close proximity to each other, so manoeuvring in and around the ships is quite difficult in itself. Coupled with that, the language difference, obviously the Arabic port miscomprehension, which can lead to large merchant vessels coming very close, so it's...
Turbs joins the queue for the southbound convoy at port side. Surrounded by a mass of colossal ship 18 point. So her crew could do without having to battle the plague of tiny bugs swarming off the Egyptian coast.
Horrible.
For Gareth, the navigator, there's a highly surprising yet crucial aspect to planning a Suez transit.
We've spent 3 months planning this, talking to the embassy in Cairo, making sure that all the paperwork's in place. It seems like administration wouldn't play a huge part in a transit like this, but it's almost half the battle, because you need to get that paperwork in. If you don't, then you turn up and you get delayed because of your paper.
But masses of paperwork is not the only price the Suez exacts. Water usage suffers too. Is Gareth Jenkins. His word is law.
The problem is really getting rid of the dirty water. So whilst we're putting in water conservation measures in force today to go through the Suez Canal, because we can't pump dirty water into the Suez Canal, whilst on covert patrol we'd also do it to avoid having to pump dirty water into the sea, because pumping water or gas into the sea makes noise, and that's a counter detection option.
One paragraph is a note on water consumption. Men, it remains high, so make every effort to avoid wasting water.
I know it's Saturday night, but as far as I'm aware, nobody's going on the pool tonight, so go easy on the water. Enjoy your steaks.
Like everything in this unique world, there is even a protocol for...
Come in, turn the shower on to warm up, clean their teeth, then get in the shower, have about 5 to 10 minutes of water, and then get out of the shower. So they use about maybe 10 or 12 gallons of ration of water. That's what we call a Hollywood, and that's to be discouraged at the highest level. Isn't it, Rydell? You wouldn't have a Hollywood, would you?
No.
Oh, God damn it. Don't let me catch you in Hollywood.
But it pales in comparison with the difficulties of navigating the Suez.
Depth of channel is maintained at 22.5 metres. Sounds like a lot. We can draw 10. So it's only 10 metres to play with in terms of distance from going aground. If you have a steering gear failure in the canal, you're going to be going aground pretty quickly.
Meanwhile, the Egyptian authorities have huge diplomatic capital in hence the military helicopters and the army battalion they assigned to protect her. Failure is not an option for either party. During its transit, turbs will require focal pilots who know the channel intimately. Such is the importance of getting her missiles through the canal that either the captain or the XO will be on the bridge throughout the 16-hour passage.
It's been interesting seeing the amount of traffic going both directions, and the amount of freight that is going, to the United Kingdom and Europe is just incredible. Very, very busy place. Part of our bit here is not just transiting to operations we're going to do, it's actually about showing presence. This is about demonstrating what we're capable of, ability to operate anywhere worldwide, and actually a ship of war passing through the Suez is a good sign for the UK.
The Suez Transit is also good news for a UK charity. With the accent and team building, some crew members are attempting to row the distance of the canal before the boat completes the passage. As the sun sets, one major obstacle down, plenty more to come. She now enters the Red Sea, which at more than a mile deep provides ideal conditions for her next big trial, a deep dive to prove her watertight integrity.
Okay, let's watch. Take submarines deep dive in depth.
Take submarine deep dive in depth, ship control.
Ship control. So this kind of water climate, that's important because it cools the boat down, but more importantly, it means that we can evade any potential submarine contacts or surface ships that might be looking for us.
Turbs dives well below 300 meters. At this depth, the pressure on the hull is enough to buckle the partitions.
Can't shut the door, sir.
Any kind of malfunction. When the boat returns to normal routines, there's some unexpected action in the galley. A cook-off between the XO, Gareth, and the coxswain Paddy.
This is the chef's side here, so every week we'll have like a cook-off between various members of the ship's company. Being the first one is me against the coxswain. So season the cod.
Both men are preparing a main course and a dessert. Paddy's trying to outdo his boss with a chicken dish. Meanwhile, Gareth's got something fishy up his sleeve.
Arrowroot. I've never heard of it. Definitely never cooked with that. We're making northern with ribbons of carrot and coriander, and followed up by orange and lemon.
Oh, potato, this posh.
Golden courgette and
Don't tell them who cooked what.
with a tomato and onion chutney. Yes.
Finally, the meals are presented to the panel of judges, comprising the captain, head chef, and the chief.
Lovely, fresh, but the winning dish ended up being the front two dishes based mostly on the sauce on chicken and the rice pudding.
Perfectly happy now. One over on my boss. It's not good for my promotion reports if I keep eating them too often. But once for a bit of fun.
Hi, top.
From a naval family in Kent, engineering technician Edward Timo Timpson's older brother is a sub-lieutenant who is training to be a warfare officer. Now, after much deliberation, Timo has decided.
Should have joined as an officer, but I didn't at the time, and now it seems like that a lot. So you go to the table and the command officer will raise your papers and go for a requestment. The DWO, who will become my division officer who writes my reports, he will set me like leadership tasks, and for example, I helped organise the rowing of the Suez Canal with the caseload. So it's just things like that which give you a chance to kind of do some leadership, and just so command can see how we react and that kind of thing.
When it comes to doing Turb's dirty jobs, Dan Gardyne tops the list. The veteran submariner has been chosen to be a sea dad and train one of the wannabe submariners.
Tell me what these are and what they do.
You get these guys come on board, they do them walking around aimlessly, sort of looking at things, trying to figure out what's going on. We assign them a sea dad, which is basically like a senior guy that's qualified that they can learn from. It's always good to be a sea dad. It's always a good reminder to oneself. Anything that you might have not done over the years, you know, you sort of have a tendency to remember again and think, oh shit, yeah, I've just got to show him this, and you remember it yourself.
After his recent brushes with authority his skills.
Yeah, he's my divisional officer, so if I want, anytime I'm in the trouble, he can kind of represent me if you like, and the good things I've done as well, you know.
I will dedicate an awful amount of time to somebody who wants to learn, and over the last few weeks he has shown me a high level of commitment. it's still a professional relationship. I mean, we're not drinking buddies. However, I'm starting to see the upward trend of his performance now. He's getting there.
Yeah, I'm not a career criminal or anything. I was 2 hours adrift, and 2 hours late. Obviously, I'm going to do the punishment. I'm not planning on getting in the shit again.
In the galley, there's a reminder of just how old the submarine can be.
He's making some hot cross buns today. It's Good Friday. We forgot. We've just been told. So quickly had to just make up 130 odd of hot cross buns. Thing is, you don't realise what day it is. It's only when someone tells you, oh yeah, Easter.
The crew knows that Turbs will be most vulnerable to attack from Somali pirates or Al-Qaeda terrorists as she transits the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. It's the most dangerous choke point on the mission, and she's got to go through it while surfaced. But before she's... the potential threat sees the captain and...
Fourth section, Costa Bravo.
Section, Costa Bravo.
Yeah, that we fought 2 skiffs, so small boats with lots of people inside them, just loitering. They've got about 20 RPGs and also AK-47s is what they're armed with. Damage to the submarine is something that can happen, but it's the people that I'm most concerned about. We can withstand damage. Actually, it's
Unknown vessel, this is surface submarine. You are approaching me in a threatening manner. Your intentions are unclear. Please turn away immediately.
Can't determine how many people are on deck.
The brief encounter ends without incident, but the vigil continues.
The most dangerous part is yet to come, and that's the next 12 hours. And the last one, they were definitely talking to each other, so the likelihood is that information's got back, and now they know there's a submarine going through tonight.
Turbs lost contact with the skiffs, not knowing if they're following or if others are waiting for her at the strait is going to... Turbulent is about to navigate the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, easily the most dangerous choke point on her passage through the Middle East. Passing between the failed state of Somalia and Yemen, regarded as an Al-Qaeda stronghold, Turbs makes a tempting target for terrorists or pirates.
We will be the only UK tomahawk shooter east of Suez. It's a standing commitment for Commander Joint Operations. We're one of his first strike assets should he need to use it, and actually an attack on us that damages that capability, removes it from...
And as night falls, the tension rises.
Good evening, men. 6 is speaking with the ward at 1900.
Having transited the Red Sea, we're now in the Straits of Bab el-Mandeb.
This is the most dangerous part of our transit to the Indian Ocean, and right now the lawless Strait of Yemen is only a few miles to the east.
Spotted suspicious go fast on 3 occasions today, and it's likely that we will see more tonight.
So remain vigilant overnight and be ready for a quick call. This is the exit, that's all.
Braking, clear, well.
It's been an anxious night for everyone, but as dawn breaks, it's clear that Turbs made it safely through the strait. Now in the Indian Ocean, Turbs is gearing up for a different threat. Being seen from the air is one of it in clear water.
On fleet!
So today she's joining forces with a helicopter from the British Royal Fleet by playing a game of cat and mouse across miles of open sea.
Warner, any indication of mode change that his counter detector doesn't want to know? We'll be dropping all the masts except search and see how he gets on from there.
For this part of the exercise, Turbs is going to give the helicopter a fighting chance. She's arranged to appear at...
Ideally, we want to practice staying undetected by the helicopter in an evasive manner, trying to break contact from the initial contact they had at periscope depth, and then track us and improve their own OC.
But even when she's trying to be seen, it seems Tubbs isn't an easy target.
Despite our best efforts, there's no indication of counter-detection from the aircraft at this range. I believe this is probably because we've had to displace ourselves to the north of the merchant vessel lane.
Eventually the boat surfaces.
It's been pretty good training for both my team and theirs as well. Amazing, isn't it? Indian Ocean this is, effectively, Gulf of Aden, British submarine, British helicopter, doing their jobs. Quite incredible.
Even on an operational mission, the training never stops. Below decks, an aspiring plainsman is learning how to dive the boat for the first time. But much to the officer of the watch's annoyance, his more experienced peers are letting him down.
Panel, cut, WT! Better switch on! Ship control, get 8 deep, he's reported washing, get the revs on.
All positions, Officer Watch. All reports. Gentlemen, the performance so far this morning has been lacklustre and the drills have been poor. We need to sort this out. Rushing.
Steady radar on, sir.
5 years.
Panel.
16.
John offers a bit of expert coaching to the trainee.
All of your problems are because you're wound at slow speeds. You've got to allow planes to bite in effect. Yep. Alright, so if I'm giving all this, what you're doing, waving them everywhere, putting stress on the pumps, alright, and you're not giving them a chance to react. Alright, but I can't say I'm recommending you for a qualification until I know you can come on there, relaxed. As soon as you get your head sorted, you're there. You're complete.
But not everyone gets off so lightly.
That was the worst dive we've ever done, and the worst I've seen since we started work up. Will not accept that standard of drills. Enthuse, carry on.
Logistics officer Richard Farrow isn't doing much better.
That's what made the store ship this time so challenging, is the canes and muster for the guys to do.
His shortcomings have seen him placed on an official warning. The captain and XO are supporting him, but the raw logistics report, his career is hanging in the balance.
With things that I've got to deal with, then the captain is more aware, and equally he can then provide that support to me. So this is a key part of that, and that's why I enjoy giving the captains happy, and I know that that's how I get the support back through.
Submarines have always been a dangerous place to work. There are limited means of escape in an emergency. Coxswain Paddy Parsons is taking the trainee submariners through the escape hatch.
In the Red Sea, whilst at periscope depth there was a large bang, and the submarine is sent to the seabed some 100 metres below.
Losing their air supply can be fatal. Suffocation is a major source of submarine catastrophe. So oxygen candles are carried to generate breathable air. But they have their own risks.
There was an incident involving the explosion of an oxygen candle some years ago now, in which 2 members of submarine service died, one of whom was a friend of mine. And he really found out when his picture came up on my ears when I was on the periscope.
Okay, the candles will get hot and will expel oxygen into the compartment for the survivors to breathe.
You know, we do live in a dangerous environment, we accept it. Terribly tragic for the families of people who are casualties in peacetime or in wartime.
In the most serious emergencies, the men may have to abandon ship.
The survivors will rig the tower for escape, and then they will dress in their specially designed escape suits. It also contains a one-man life raft for use on the surface.
But most of the men take the mortal dangers of submarine life in their stride.
Going underwater in a nuclear powered submarine doesn't fun me at all. We've got a nuclear reactor 30 yards that way. I've got 20 tons of high explosives 30 yards that way. And normally when we're dive, there's hostile warships 30 to 40 meters above us trying to... It's quite a dangerous environment to operate in. The things that worry me are if we get cannons detected on our patrol, which is supposed to be covert, it's going to be the submarine service or the Royal Navy. That's what worries me, and that's always in the back of my mind.
The crew are now just days away from Fujairah, but before they get there, Richard will face a final reckoning.
Asking to being a submariner, I don't know.
After safely navigating the Suez Canal, negotiating the Red Sea and transiting the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, when she leaves there, the UK's only Tomahawk missile platform in this unstable region will begin a top secret for reasons of national security. Our cameras will have to leave, and the area is about to be shaken up once again.
We've had news in today that Osama bin Laden, the head of Al-Qaeda, was killed very recently by US forces within Pakistan. And that's got quite an impact now. Actually, whether they're either going to stop Al-Qaeda in its path or it's going to make our time exceptionally busy operating east of Suez.
But even in the most dangerous of places, there are...
The aim of capturing drones is threefold, as I see it. The first one is that it checks the material state of the submarine. The second part is it gives focus for the team. There are periods of boredom, is the only word for it. You get pure adrenaline, and then periods of massive boredom. Actually, this is giving a focus for the team. Is making sure that we're proud of our submarine before we present it.
Are wandering around, being able to look straight down into the deep, exactly where we all are. And there's all the little hidey holes and the little, and if they haven't been done, then they'll know what sort of standard we're at. We meet the standard.
Is this a distraction technique? Green Galley.
As the men prepare to turn to their own futures. At 6'5", Timo is the tallest man on the boat. He's got dreams of training as an officer, but before he can start, there's one last hurdle. He needs the captain's approval.
ETWESM Timpson, sir. Salute. ETWSM Timpson to raise CW papers for the 23rd of April 2011. Standard is...
Sir, during his time on HMS Turbulent, Timpson has displayed a mature and enthusiastic approach to all tasks. He has been an asset to the WE department in all sections he has worked for. Timpson has always shown a keen interest in being selected as a candidate for Wardroom. Sir, I believe Timpson has the right attitude and drive to make the step up. Sir, Wardroom.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Brogan. Okay, Timpson's big step to making up to the officer corps. Don't underestimate this challenge, it is a big one, so look for those opportunities and demonstrate to me that actually the decision we're going to make today to put you forward is fully justified.
Right turn, quick march, right wheel.
Good one, Chief Brogan. Okay, thanks very much.
Went into the captain's request and for my papers to be raised for a wardroom candidate. This is the first stage in quite a long process towards becoming an officer.
Meanwhile, Richard Farrow's once glowing prospects have faded. Over the last few weeks, the logistics officer has not lived up to expectations.
On the professional side, things haven't gone quite as well as I would have hoped, and my aspirations, I think, have changed somewhat. I've been placed upon officers' quarterly warnings which, if followed to completion, would lead to my dismissal from the service. Realistically, that my position is untenable on board the submarine. Am I suited to being a submariner? I don't know, probably not, if I'm really honest with myself.
18 metres.
The submarine service isn't for everybody. It's an exceptionally difficult job. It's an exceptionally difficult environment. It takes all sorts to do the job, but equally we don't accept anything less than 100%. You have to give 100% commitment to the submarine. You have to do your job to your utmost, and if you don't achieve that, then actually the service may not be for you. And it's the collective versus the individual career path that becomes the most important part.
In addition to the
As the crew approach the last leg of this part of their mission, the captain sums up their achievements so far.
Okay, let's put April into perspective. In 1 month, we've done 2 operations, one for NATO, one for national. 170 or in excess of 170 military rackets, over 300 merchant vessel contacts and warship contacts. We've operated in 2 oceans, 1 sea, transited through the Suez Canal, transited through the Bab el-Mandeb. We're now operating in an area that we're not quite familiar with but getting used to. We've operated in the Gulf of Aden, going to the Gulf of Oman. There's huge amounts of stuff we've done, and we provided all the way through that, we provided Tomahawk in 2 different theatres continuously. That's it, thanks very much.
As the only British submarine in the region capable of launching Tomahawk missiles, Turbs will be under intense pressure over the coming months. But bonded by their recent experiences, may be leaving. But for Britain's Submariner,